Hey everyone, I'm Kathy Sullivan. I'm a lead program manager on the .NET team. And I'm really excited that you're joining us to learn more about how you can upgrade your .NET Framework apps to .NET 5. So first, let's do a recap of what's new in .NET 5. And then I'm going to show you, we'll do a deep dive into the .NET Upgrade Assistant, which you just saw in our keynote. And we just released it today as a preview. And I'll show you how you can more confidently upgrade your apps to .NET 5. So for those of you who are just watching the keynote, you heard Scott Hunter and friends talk about why you should consider .NET for your apps. Our vision of One.NET is to simplify the platform and choices for .NET developers and provide a single stack that supports the best-of-breed solutions for all modern workloads and operating systems. We've taken the best of .NET Framework and put that into .NET Core, and it includes many familiar APIs, as well as Windows desktop apps with WPF and WinForms. And now we're unifying all of the platform, SDK, and tools by bringing in Mono and Xamarin. And .NET 5 is the focus of our investments in the .NET platform going forward, which makes it a logical choice for any .NET-based application. We know you've built millions of Windows desktop apps, and you're going to continue to develop them. And we want to make sure that these apps not only run on the latest .NET, but can also be developed to the latest version of Visual Studio. And that's why we've worked to bring these workloads to .NET Core and now .NET 5. And we already have over 200,000 Windows developers who've moved from .NET Framework to .NET Core. With .NET 5, we've completed this work by bringing the full Visual Studio development experience to you, including third-party control and component vendors you may be using today, and Click Once installer support that Alia showed you earlier. And by moving forward, these apps can get all the benefits of .NET like self-contained single-file exes, where you don't need to have the .NET Framework on the machine. And you can also use the new Windows 10 controls like WebView 2. So hopefully after hearing all of this, you're now thinking like, show me how I can upgrade to .NET 5. So today, we're sharing with you, as you already saw in the keynote, a preview of a tool we've been working on to help you upgrade your apps from .NET 5, or sorry, from .NET Framework to .NET 5. And we're calling it the Upgrade Assistant. And the Upgrade Assistant is a global command line tool that gives you a guided experience for incrementally upgrading your applications. It brings in an existing tool called TryConvert, together with step-by-step instructions and recommendations, which I'll show you in a minute. And this means you can instead focus on your upgrading time on the more specific changes to your app and your app model, rather than on some of the repetitive tasks across all your projects in a solution. The tool supports multiple project types. It's ready to help you with WinForms, WPF apps, ASP.NET MVC, console apps, and class libraries. And the plan is to add more project types in later previews. Now, this is where we'll start to get into a lot of the details of the tool here and how it actually works. The tool's not intended to completely migrate your .NET Framework apps to .NET 5. And manual changes will still be needed to make because those really require knowledge of the app and how it's intended to function. So let's go ahead and look at the tool and see it in action. I'll put you right in here. All right. So as we already showed you, the tool is open source on GitHub. And we have a README obviously down below, and it shows you all the goodies about the tool, how it works, and how to install it. But I also wanted to point out in our docs section here, if it ever loads, a little slow. We've added some other interesting things you can read about on how you can extend the tool yourself. And then we also added our roadmap here, so you can see some of the things that we're thinking of in upcoming previews. And we really want you to help us tell us what's missing there, or tell us really what's exciting in that list too. So let's scroll down a little bit. Like I said, we've got an overview of the tool here. We've also added some really cool, really useful links here to our docs that we've gone through and added them for WPF, WinForms, and we also have ASP.NET specific examples here. And we also added our new porting book to .NET Core for ASP.NET apps as well. So first, you're going to need to install TryConvert, and you can do that by using this command at the command line. And if you already have used the TryConvert tool, do make sure that you update it, as we've been making changes to it in the past few weeks. So now we're ready to update or install, excuse me, the Upgrade Assistant. So let's go and do that. you're going to use this command, and actually the command has changed slightly since this morning, since we just published everything yesterday. So I haven't refreshed my page, but you'll want to use this command at the command line to get the tool installed. And you can go do that pretty quickly there. And then I just want to call out one thing in the usage. If you're someone who likes more verbose diagnostics, you can use the verbose command to see tons of detail of what the tool is doing, if you're really interested in checking that out too. All right, so let's go. I have Baby Smash here on my machine as well too. And I actually am going to target an even older version of .NET Framework 3.5. I know Olia showed it on, I believe it was 4.8. And we'll just go show that the app runs on my machine like we would expect. And I know this is a pretty simple app. And I added a couple more words to, there's a dictionary you can include with this app, which is pretty cool. I added a couple more to kind of showcase it there. And honestly, I'm just going to show you, I'm going to take you through the steps of the tool using Baby Smash so I can tell you sort of step by step how it works. So we'll go through this tool, and then after we're going to flex the power of the tool using a much larger solution. So let's head over to the command line, and we're going to run Baby Smash in here. All right, so after the tool does a bunch of initialization and whatnot here, we'll scroll up a little bit. Let me actually zoom out a teeny bit here. And the first step here is that the tool is going to back up my project. And with this backup here, you can easily roll back to a working state if you need to at any point. Like I said, you're still going to need to make some manual changes at the end. So please do the backup, and also make sure that your code is also in source control as well too. So we'll go through everything step by step. But first, I'm going to actually go and do the backup and ask me for a path for the backup. So I'm going to take the default path. You can just use enter as you go through here, and it'll always take the first option, which is a nice option here. And of course, it's a little slow. Not sure what's going on. It's hanging for a second here. Oh, there we go. Yep, backup's all set. So now moving on to the second step. And the second step here is about converting my project file to an SDK style. And this part of the tool uses the try-convert tool that we installed as part of the prereqs. At this step, the Upgrade Assistant is converting, and we'll just go and start that, is converting my project files to the new SDK style file structure. And .NET 5 uses a simplified and different project file format compared to .NET 5. So there we go, conversion is all complete. And now you'll see that it says that my project may require some additional, I'll go back up so you can see that. Apologies for that. Oh, it did tell me that it would require a little bit more additional changes after the tools run. So we'll move on to the third step here. And at this step, this is updating the TFM. These are target framework monikers. And now at this point, since we're moving from .NET Framework 3.5 to .NET 5, we'll go ahead and run this step here. And at this step, the tool's identified that we're upgrading a Windows app. And it recommends that I add the Windows compatibility pack as well, which I would have had to do normally if I was doing this by hand. So this is really great that it noticed I was running a Windows app, and it's going to go and add some things that could be helpful here for me to get my app upgraded. And I'll hit OK. And it's also at this point going to add in some analyzers that come with the .NET Upgrade Assistant. And these analyzers are they're essentially code fixers that will help me fix some specific things in my code that aren't compatible with .NET 5 in the next step. So you'll notice here that it is going to install this analyzer pack, and then also it's telling me, okay, we're going to add the Windows compatibility pack, which is really great because I would have had to add that manually and then go rebuild my app after that. So moving on to steps, I'm going to combine steps 4 and 5 as I talk about them. Step 4 is about updating my NuGet packages. And so let's go kick off the next step here. And at this step, there's a couple rules that this step is going to use to figure out which packages it should actually go and update. So there's sort of three rules here. One rule is that it's going to remove package references that appear to be transitive, so that only top-level dependencies are included in the CS proj file. The second step is that if it references a NuGet package that isn't compatible with the target .NET version and there's a newer version of the NuGet package available, the package will automatically update to the version, the first major version that will work. And then the third is if it will replace NuGet references based on specific replacement packages listed in the configuration file. So I'll show you right here. It says it's marking system data extensions for removal because it appears to be a transitive dependency. So it's doing a lot of this legwork that I would have had to either notice from building my app, or maybe I found out about this package from some other reason or some other place, but it's going to do some of that legwork for me, which is really cool. And it means I can just read about it and understand it and then go ahead and take that step here. So we'll go on there. Step 5, which you'll notice that it marked it as complete. Right now the tool, if it has nothing to do with a step, it will mark it as complete, but actually number 5 didn't do anything to my app. And number 5 though is actually a step that right now is for ASP.NET apps. And so template files, if you are familiar with ASP.NET apps, it has program.cs and startup.cs, which doesn't exist in older apps. And so it would go ahead and add those files, but this step is not applicable to our migration right now. So we'll move on to step 6b, which is about disabling unsupported configuration sections. And I'm going to go and take this one. And this step will disable unsupported configuration sections in my app config. And for example, it'll also let me know about references in there that are not supported in .NET 5. So right here you can see system.diagnostics is not supported in .NET 5. It's really great. We also brought in the issue URL here, so you can go and I believe the team has added a bunch of details into this as well too. And so for now, we're just going to disable it from our app config. And again, just another manual thing that I would have had to do that the tool is going to do for me. All right, and so let's move on to the last step in the Upgrade Assistant. And at this step, this is step number 7. And this step actually updates the C# source itself. Now, these are actually analyzers that we have for ASP.NET, and we're actually going to be adding analyzers for Windows apps very soon. And we'd even love if some of you who want to help contribute to some of those and write some of your own analyzers and eventually contribute them into the repo, we would also love for that too. But basically, if you're not familiar with analyzers, these can flag interesting code patterns in your code or even in all apps, essentially, and help you upgrade them a lot easier to .NET 5. So now there's only one project in my solution here. This is the point where I'd move on to the next project, but Baby Smash only has one project. So let's go and finish the upgrade here. And we're all set. So after running the tool, we'll head back to Visual Studio. And now, as I mentioned, at this point, my solution is not going to build, okay? We do have some, as this is totally a work in progress, as Scott mentioned, and we're in a preview kind of state right now, there are a couple sort of things that get left behind. And so I know that I'm going to have to delete these files that were generated from one of our tools, and that's okay, and we'll eventually get that fixed. So I went ahead and deleted those, and I'm going to clean up my solution. And we're going to take a look and, sorry, we're going to take a look and just double check that we've actually moved over to .NET 5 as we expect. Awesome, now we're on 5. And now we're going to run it just to double check. Actually, I missed a step. I totally said we had to do manual changes and I didn't go and do those, so it's actually not going to build for me. So let's go and take a look at those errors that are probably about to come up. Yeah, so I don't want to run it. So now, when it builds, there's also, actually, there's a couple warnings in here that you'll want to check out in your own apps too. And I'll show you in the app that I'm going to show you in a second that there'll be a lot more warnings than there are here in Baby Smash. But these are also good places for you to go and look and see what might not be compatible or what might have some problems working in .NET 5. So I'll go back to my error list, and system.deployment is actually not supported in .NET 5. And so I left these examples here to show you that in this case, it's doing some checks to see if the app is network deployed. And so I'm just going to go comment those out right now, just so I can get my app to run. And I'm just going to do a quick clean here. And we're gonna run it, and then it should be all set to run. There we go. Cool. Then while we wait for this to run, we're going to move on to a bit more complicated solution that has about 12 projects in it. We'll just double check that our Baby Smash app works. Should be coming up any minute.
Yeah,
awesome. And there it is, running on .NET 5. Cool. So like I said, we're going to move on to a solution that is a little bit more complicated. And we came across this, let me refresh here, this app here, and it's called Network Manager. It's from Born to Be Root, and he's open sourced this tool. I'll show you what it looks like here. It's actually a tool that helps you troubleshoot network connections. And it is, like I said, it's got 12 projects. It is, it's based on Framework 4.7.2. And he actually has a branch in here that's running on 4.7. And so we thought we'd take this app and show you how you can upgrade multiple projects using the tool as well here. So it actually would be very tedious to have to manually update all of these 12 projects to the new SDK style project, update the target framework, the NuGet references, then other things that are outdated, and you kind of get where I'm going here. So let's head back to Visual Studio, and I'm gonna go to this one right here. Now, I do want to call it that before running the Upgrade Assistant on this app, we did do a little prep work. We actually had to upgrade the project to use WebView 2. Since we knew that the toolkit of WPF controls is not supported, sorry, the WebView 1 was not supported in .NET 5. So we actually did do some refactoring of our XAML code before this. But let's go and run the Network Manager, or sorry, let's go and run in the Upgrade Assistant against the Network Manager solution. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the backup for the sake of time here, because it would actually take a couple minutes. It's, like I said, it's really great. I highly recommend that you back up your solution before you go and run it against the Upgrade Assistant. But what you'll see now here is that I have more than one project here. So this is something new that we didn't see with Baby Smash. So the Upgrade Assistant wants me to select an entry point. And this is essentially the project that you run or has set to start up. So if I see over here in Visual Studio that Network Manager is my startup project. So let's go and take that one first. So it shows me all 12 of my projects here. And, select the entry point is, now we select number 1. So now I select number 1, that's the project that I actually run. And what it's going to do here is it's going to analyze all of the projects in the solution, and it's going to recommend an order to migrate them in based on the project dependencies. Now, I would have had to do this manually by likely generating a dependency graph in Visual Studio and then figuring out the order that I wanted to run my projects in. But the tool does this for me, and that's really great. I can save a lot of time by letting the tool do all this work for me. So the tool is going to show me that list now that it generated. You'll notice this list looks different from the other list that we had, which essentially just took them in order that they are here in Visual Studio. And actually, Network Manager, which is the app that I run, is actually at the bottom here because it has a lot of dependencies, and it depends on a lot of these other projects here as well too. Now, one thing I do want to call out with the tool is that I've got 12 projects here, and if I were to upgrade them all right now, it would take me over 15 minutes to do that with the tool. And that's a lot of time. So if I just wanted to start with a couple of them and get a feel about how the tool works, I can close out the tool and I can come back tomorrow. So the tool will remember the last project that you were at, and it'll also remember if it had finished upgrading the entire solution or not too. All right, so I'm actually not going to upgrade this right now in here because I said it takes over 15 minutes, and I'm going to switch to a version that I actually ran this solution over the Upgrade Assistant earlier today, and I will just show you that. So this one is now on .NET 5, and now, like I said, after running this tool, you're going to need to make some manual changes, and this is totally expected. So I'm going to make these changes really quickly, and then it's going to take a minute for it to build. So then I'm going to tell you what I just did rather than make you sit through all of all that build time there. So I'm just going to make a couple quick changes, and then I will explain to you what I did. I'm going to open up NuGet Package Manager and change a couple package references to an older version. And so again, I'm going to tell you everything I did here in just a second. So let's go and change these to, let's see, 165, and install that. Okay, that's good. Okay, and then I'm gonna go here, add this one, save this file, and then I believe I'm all done. Great, now we're gonna rebuild the solution. And let's see, I just wanted to clean up everything up, make sure I'm in good state here. And so now some of these changes, I got another minute. So some of these manual changes that we made were actually due to some limitations in try-convert and in our tool, and we already have issues for those that we're going to be looking at too. Others were actually, sorry, let's just try this. Let's start this and rebuild it. But others were actually path updates that I had to make that I knew wouldn't work in .NET 5. But the change that I made in the NuGet Package Manager, where we were using this maapps.metro NuGet package, and this is a package that pulls together some modern UI for WPF apps. It actually got updated by the tool to the latest version. And that latest version actually isn't compatible with .NET 5. So this is an example of one place where for your own apps, you'll want to ensure that you check all the package updates that it makes, because there might be some breaking changes when the tool is done running. And again, this is something that, you know your app, you know the app model, so you're going to have to go and do a little bit of checking after the tool runs to make sure that everything is as you expect there. Now, there's still more to come in this tool, and this is just an example of an area that we definitely want to keep evolving things here. We want to have more analyzers for a lot of different app types. And if this, I promise it will finish in just a second. But like I said, if you look, there are some warnings in here that I probably should go and look at these to make sure that everything is working as I intend to. So the output window is definitely a place where you're going to want to go and check on the migration after it's done there. I promise it's going to run, but it might take a little longer than I have, and I do want to make sure that we have a little bit of time for questions. So we'll just move back to the deck real quick, and let me swap this. So real quick, I want to talk about Optimizely, and they're formerly known as EpiServer, and we worked with them to upgrade their large ASP.NET application portfolio to take full advantage of .NET 5. And we built this tool, the .NET Upgrade Assistant, with their close collaboration. They're using it right now to, here's our network manager, all working on .NET 5, cool. So they're using this to upgrade their ASP.NET MVC apps to ASP.NET Core so they can realize the cost-saving benefits of running on Linux and Azure. And with their help, we refined how the tool works and added extensibility points so that they could hook up their own upgrade guidance and code patterns into the assistant. And this makes it all easier for their customers to upgrade their solutions as well. So here's all the links that you need to get the tool, and you can find samples and documentation in our docs too. We'd love for you to try out the tool on your own apps and share your thoughts with us. And of course, if you find an issue or you need help, this repo, our .NET Upgrade Assistant repo, is the best place to let us know. And we'll be open for code contributions very soon. So thanks for tuning in today, and happy upgrading to .NET 5.
Hey, how are you doing? Sorry about that. I was waiting for a button for
It's
the
okay.
browser to show up. So thank you so much for taking the time. We actually have several questions if you got
Awesome.
time for them. Let me
Yeah,
let me
let's
bring
do
them up
it.
here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
1 second. And all right. So Douglas Starnes from Twitter wants to know, will there be eventually UI or Visual Studio integration for the .NET Upgrade Assistant?
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually, if you go look at the roadmap in the repo, we have it listed there. It's definitely something that we've been talking about, and we definitely want to be able to add. But I think just getting a lot of the core functionality, being able to support lots of other project types and having analyzers will just be more of a priority for us in the shorter term. But it's definitely something that's on our roadmap, and we definitely want to be able to have.
Yeah, I figured that was going to be one of the major questions that the
Yes.
team will get asked every single time.
Yep.
All right, so let's go to the next question here. All right, Alex wants to know, will the upgraded system be also available to convert projects that use Entity Framework 5 or 6? Or is it, I'm guessing he's trying to figure out, hey, is it just a Pacific project, or is it a Windows project, or what other project types are applicable for that?
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know for this one for sure. And so feel free to just get in touch with me, or the team is also on Twitter too, and we can definitely give you a little bit more guidance on that.
Perfect.
Yeah,
All right, let's go
we'll
to the
chat with
next.
you
Let's go to the next question. So, hey, you may know this person, Kevin Sullivan wants to made a comment saying, watching a great mom, the strongest
about that.
PM in our household, give a talk in .NET Conf. So I figured, I saw that tweet. It needs to be mentioned. So
It's so great.
I'm sure he's around.
I practiced with my 4-year-old too, and he said it was too long and boring. But
This is the fun part of .NET Conf, right? We're human beings. We're doing it all together. We're building software for each other.
That's
So that's
right. Thank
great.
you.
No problem. All right. Here's an actual question. Let's see. Mark wants to know, does .NET 5 support the add service reference from .NET Framework? Can the upgrade tool transfer a SOAP service without error? Or is this just specifically to what you have referenced as a library or a NuGet package?
Yeah, so I know I'm going through my head and the things that we had talked up to the team yesterday as we were preparing that roadmap and trying to anticipate our questions here. I believe that we don't support this just yet, but I totally encourage you to go add an issue in the repo so that we can make sure that we don't lose track of this.
No problem. Perfect. Now, let's see. I think we have time for one more question. So Ray Blanco wants to know, is it the same case for any .NET Core solution upgraded .NET 5? In other words, can I use the upgrade tool utility to go from .NET, say, 2.2 or 3.1 to .NET 5?
Oh yeah, so that's the goal of the tool. Definitely try it out. Let us know if you encounter any issues or have any problems. We'll definitely help you work through those. So
now, is there any limit on the version of .NET 5? For example, I have some apps just because I've been quote unquote busy
yeah.
that are still running .NET .NET Core 2.1. Is there a specific limit that it targets that it prevents it from upgrading, or is it across the board?
I'm trying to recall. It should be across the board. We do, just to note though, that like the tool will upgrade you to .NET 5, and not to. We do. I think we do have an issue to potentially support going to 3 or 3.1. Okay. And so right now, I don't know. I think so.
No worries.
Try it out and let us know.
Perfect. No, it's all good.
We're definitely trying to get all of, there's so much surface area here, and so we just love input as people start to use it and give us feedback.
No, great. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Kathy, for taking the time to showing us the tool. The demo was great.
Javier, yeah.
I'm glad it eventually, I loved how it was just, you were showing your slides and it just popped up. That was perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Javier.